Good morning and welcome to Scarborough Community Alliance Church Midweek Devotion. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a familiar passage from the book of Luke. Luke chapter 1 verses 5 to 18 and then verses 23 to 25. The birth of John the Baptist foretold. In the time of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah who belonged to the priesthood division of Abijah. His wife Elizabeth was also a descendant of Aaron. Both of them were upright in the sight of God, observing all the Lord's commandments and regulations blamelessly. But they had no children because Elizabeth was barren, and they were both well along in years. Once, when Zechariah's division was on duty and he was serving as priest before the Lord, he was chosen by Lot according to the customs of priesthood to go into the temple of the Lord and burn incense. And when the time for the burning of incense came, all the assembled worshippers were praying outside. Then an angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing at the right side of the altar of incense. When Zechariah saw him, he was startled and was gripped with fear. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah. Your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you are to give him the name John. He will be a great joy and delight to you, and many will rejoice because of his birth, for he will be great in the sight of the Lord. He is never to take wine or fermented drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit even from birth. Many people of Israel will he bring back to the Lord their God, and he will go before the Lord in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to their children and the disobedient to the wisdom of the righteous, to make a ready people prepared for the Lord." Zechariah asked the angel, "How can I be sure of this? I'm an old man, and my wife is well along in years." Verse 23. When his time of service was completed, he returned home. After this, his wife Elizabeth became pregnant, and for 5 months remained in seclusion. "The Lord has done this for me," she said. "In these days he has shown his favor and taken away my disgrace among the people." I know, sorry, it was a little bit longer of a passage, and you probably are familiar with this passage, especially during the time of the Christmas season. I was reading this passage during my devotion, but this time I put myself in the shoes of Zechariah and Elizabeth, his wife. They were God-fearing people, devoted to God and walking blamelessly before him, but they had no children. I could see them praying many times fervently for a child. This must have happened regularly and over a long period of time. And then as the year passed by, nothing happened. Their hopes must have been gone by now. We can see this by Zechariah's response to the angel's announcements of the good news. The angel said, "Your prayer has been heard, and your wife Elizabeth will bear a son." But Zechariah's response was, "How can I be sure of this?" First, we see that although Zechariah's faith was almost gone by this time, it did not stop God from answering the prayer. Yes, we see that he could not speak because of his lack of faith, but God still answered his prayer and gave him a child. Second, notice that the angel said that his prayer has been heard. Over all those years, even though God did not answer the prayers immediately, they were heard. We see these themes recurring over many accounts of the Bible stories that tells us that even though God may not respond something immediately, he has heard those prayers. And finally, Although their prayers were heard, God chose a better time and a better way to answer it. He answered it in His time and according to His perfect plan. If God would have given them just a regular, normal child during their childbearing years, of course they will have been very happy. But having a child now outside their childbearing years shows without a doubt that this was a miraculous act from God. Furthermore, for God fearing people, what a privilege it must have felt to be chosen as parents of a great prophet that will come and prepare the way for the Lord. With this answer, God made them part of the fulfillment of a long awaited promise. The Messiah's coming to redeem Israel was happening now. Zechariah received the child with which he prayed for, but he received much more than what he prayed for his own joy. Together with his child, God put them as part of a greater plan of redemption for the world. If you read chapter 1, verses 67 to 79, you will find Zechariah's song after the birth of the child. You will see that although he is extremely grateful for his own son, it seems that his gratitude is more expressed for the coming of the Messiah. God has a way and time to respond the prayer of Zechariah. He has done it in a way that I'm pretty sure that Zechariah has never, ever imagined. You see, together with his response of having a child, God gave him the answer of the long-awaited Messiah, that he will be able to see this coming, and that his own son will be the great prophet that will prepare the way for the Lord. What a great blessing and what a great way to answer prayer. Have you been praying for something for a long time? The meditation on this passage has reminded me again of God's amazing way to answer prayers. His timing and his answers are often better than we actually pray for. It encouraged me to continue to persevere and to pray with faith in God's goodness. I've been praying for something for a long time, and although it has not happened yet, but this meditation has caused me to continue to have faith and continue to persevere. So if you, like me, have been praying for something for a long time, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Continue to pray, because in His time, God will answer His prayer in the best way, in ways that we can far much better than we can imagine. For Jesus told us that we have a loving Father. And He said, if you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give you good things to those who ask Him? So thank you for listening to this sharing, this simple sharing. I hope that somehow it has encouraged you if you are praying for something for a long time. May God bless you. Have a good week.